And with us today, newly appointed head coach of Barnsley, it's of course the midfield maestro legend, Mr. Conor Hourihane himself. Conor, good afternoon.
How are we doing? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Listen, we saw a glimpse, I think, on Saturday before kickoff. You went into the stands to go and have a quick word with Alan Smith regarding his cancer diagnosis. And I was watching from the West Stand, and there were lots and lots of people wanting to say hello, take a photo. You know, you've really been, I think, received well. I think the fans overall are very happy that you've been appointed the new head coach of sort of like our club. And how would you describe a team that's managed by yourself? So what traits do you think Barnsley fans can look forward to seeing in the team that you manage?
Yeah, look, firstly, kind of veer away from the specific question just for a second, and I will come back to that. I was delighted with the reception, obviously, when I went into the Ponty, and I think that's something that I'm really trying to bring back, the connection with myself. I'm delighted, obviously, that it's been received well, not just that gesture, but in terms of me being the head coach. So that's great to hear. I think, that's one thing that I found since coming back to the football club as a player coach, obviously now a head coach, that the connection just isn't as where I would like it to be between fans, team and club. I think we need to get that back. I think little ideas like I have moving forward and little things like obviously the presentation of the shirt will bring it back slowly and surely in terms of baby steps. But now you've got someone who has the fan base and the club at the forefront of his head in terms of my planning, how I see the vision moving forward, the uniting everyone together and making that as powerful as possible. So first things first, I think I'm fully aware of the challenge to try and bring everyone together, but it's one of the things at the forefront and at the top of my list, that's for sure. In terms of my team, then moving forward, look, I think obviously I've already touched on it, and you've probably seen in spells in the games that I've had. I want to play with a back four moving forward, with wingers, high press, energy, up and at them, in their face mentality, win the ball back as quick as possible in terms of high pressing, and then playing the game for as long as we can in the opposition's half and sustaining pressure, sustaining attacks, and building that momentum and that pressure, particularly at home. Obviously, in terms of playing away, it would be the same style, don't get me wrong, but instead of having our full house, hopefully Oakwell behind us, we'll have a frustrated fan base in terms of going to an opposition's ground, and they'll be building frustration against their own team, and we have to then make the most of enjoying that frustration and then being on top in games. So I think, to answer your question, in terms of my style, it would be high energy, high, attacking football. I think you've seen that in terms of the games I've already done in spells. I'd like it for longer spells in games, and I think that's where pre-season will come into it. And one thing that's at the top of my agenda moving forward as well is clean sheets and the foundations from the back. I don't think we've been good enough in terms of that this season. I think we're joint third bottom or joint second bottom, whatever you want to call it, with Peterborough, funnily enough, the other day, with 6 clean sheets. I think the lowest is 4 and the highest is 22, and that's Wrexham, to my knowledge. So, and they're second in the league. So it's no coincidence that one of the highest with clean sheets in the league is fighting at the top of it. So I think we need to get back to the connection first and foremost between fans and players, and then on field, high energy, high attacking football, exciting to watch, but having a real good foundation behind it to keep clean sheets is at the high of my list as well.
And I think, and I can only speak on myself, but obviously speak to a lot of Barnsley fans. I think what the fans are happy about is that, and that's no disrespect to anyone, genuinely, I don't mean any disrespect to anyone. We've got somebody who's got the same passion and desire for our club because you are an ex-player, because you've had success with us, because you've led the line. So, as you were starting to now as head coach, are there any sort of traits or skills from managers that you've worked under that you're looking to maybe bring in? Something that maybe, whether it be at Villa or a Derby, that when you've worked under some managers, you thought, that might work here.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in a few bits in terms of in-house stuff. The there's going to be presentations from staff and players about their life and about getting to know. I think in this building so far, say for instance, I know Lewis next to me here in the media, but I just know Lewis as Lewis, but I don't know him as a person. I don't know him, what's his outside life been like, what's his story been like. So one of the clubs I was at in the last 4 or 5 years, we all did presentations in terms of just 5 minutes to touch on your life, touch on your family, what's your why do you get up in the morning, why do you come into a training, what do you want to achieve? And that's that there was such powerful stories within that it brought the group together, and it made you care about that individual next year that little bit more, just because you knew a little bit more about them. I think then there's obviously little specifics in and around the building as well that I would like to do. I'd like to, obviously, the players to be more involved with the fans, whether that's, bringing fans, into the training ground, or players going to meet certain fans, bringing little bits and pieces like that in as well. I want to bring in a couple of fans in pre-season. I'm open to ideas, by the way, if anyone has any, to present to the players that are going to be here next year and what it means to play for the football club. You turn up every single week and you pay your money and you want to see a team that resembles the town, what the town stands for. And I want a couple of fans to come in pre-season and present that to the players, so the players know what it means to the fans on wearing that shirt every single week, because you got to wear it with pride. So yeah, just little things like that I think are going to be really, really important moving forward.
And I think it's sometimes forgotten, isn't it? Because I know you mentioned Lewis, and obviously Lewis is one of the good guys. But I know from a personal point of view, it's a last home game on Saturday. It's a fostering takeover day. Lewis liked that, didn't he? Thanks for the interview, Lewis. It's fostering takeover day. So I know there is a huge focus on, because we need more. I'm a foster care in Barnsley. We need more foster carers in Barnsley. And I think sometimes some of that work goes unnoticed almost, because people turn up for 90 minutes of football. But, the partnership they've got with the hospice, with the rest of the community and everything else, I think sometimes that goes a little bit unnoticed, and a lot of good work is being done. So it's great to see, that not only you're fully behind it, but you want to get involved in that. We have to talk, though, about the Oakwell curse, results at home. Now, and again, you've got to be fair. The club have invested heavily in, there's plans for a new fan zone. The safe standing now in top end of the Ponty end. Do your thoughts about the sort of like home form, the voodoo, whatever you want to call it, do they change from now that you're a head coach as then you were a manager? Is it just another match? Is it to do with pressure, fan expectations? What is it about Oakwell, do you think, that could the fans do? Is there something fans can do to try and, get some, results at home? I mean, obviously, it is turning a little bit, which is great. What's your thought on that whole home form?
Yeah, I think there's a few things with it. If I'm being honest, I think there's a disconnect again. That doesn't bring energy. That doesn't bring a great atmosphere. It's a little bit quiet, I think, at times. I think the last 2 home games, I'm not just saying it because it's me, have been better, without a doubt. I definitely agree on that. I think we need to try and build on that, and hopefully that will be the case tomorrow. We've had a good result against Bolton. We had an okay result against Peterborough, but we were the better side, in my opinion, and should have gone and win the game in the second half. And hopefully it will be a similar performance tomorrow, fingers crossed. I don't believe in hoodoos and all that kind of stuff, to be honest. I think it's a mindset around it. I think my biggest thing is, if we bring that connection back and bring that energy back, the results will happen. And don't get me wrong, the players that are going to be here next year and the staff who are going to be here next year have to bring that energy and have to bring that football for the fans to be shouting about them. I know that. And I think the one big thing I'm going to be saying to the players, we can do all we can, but ultimately we need to win games of football to get the fans on side. It's not rocket science. These are all little things that I'm hoping that are going to help. But I'm a big thing with the players. Of it's just another game. Honestly, don't think too far into it. Same consistent messages, same energy, same intensity, a little bit of luck, hopefully, along the way, that we all need in life, not just in football. And I'm a big believer that it will change. Like, I've had many a day of good and bad out in Oakwell. Don't get me wrong. When I first signed here, we were going through a bad patch, and look how it turned and look how it changed. So I've seen it at a poor time, and I've seen it at one of its very best. So I understand that it can change, and that's the hope and the drive every single day that I've got, that I can play my big part in that and hopefully see change. And that's fingers crossed what's going to happen.
And I suppose this renewed optimism amongst the fans base will mean that, you know, whether that be on Saturday or the start of next season at home, you'll have a numerical advantage because you'll play with 12 man. There'll be 10,000 or whatever in the stands behind you, and the atmosphere. It does make a difference, doesn't it? Because it creates an atmosphere that hopefully the players can bounce and reflect. And it's Friday afternoon. So last question.
No, you're right. No problems.
It's a huge responsibility, isn't it? No, being a head coach, and I suppose especially for a club that means a lot to you, because we know, you know, when you were here, what you brought, the successes that we've had, in the manner that you left, which I think fans appreciate that, if I can say it like that. They know that players go on to bigger and better things, and I'm just happy that we were part of that journey. What do you do to relax? Or can you relax? Or have you got time to relax, should I say?
I haven't had any time so far. I've been trying to do so much work in the background to try and, you know, help the club in the right direction in such a short space of time. I think, look, I wouldn't, to kind of pick at your question a little bit, I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't conduct myself in the right manner the way I did when I was a player, when I first left here. That's the first thing. I think it's so important for anybody to conduct themselves in the right way, whether you're going to be here long term, short term, medium term, everyone around the building. I'm so big on how you conduct yourself every single day, and that's not just as an employee or a player as a football club. It's as a human being first and foremost. You know, every single day that you turn up, be a good person over anything else. Bring good energy to work. I'm hoping that I'm creating, and I've heard a couple of things, which is good, a good place to come and work. I think that's really important. There's timekeeping, like we just spoke about earlier on. I said it as a bit of a joke that I turned up on time, but I pride myself on turning up on time, which is really, really important. And I've said that to the players. If you don't train correctly, you won't play and stuff like that. So, yeah, look, I'm hoping, like I said, day by day, that we're creating a good environment, good culture. We may suffer short term, but I'm hoping the longer term picture, this would all build to where we want to go. And I'm a big believer in that it will happen. And like I said, I've seen it at one of its worst, and I've seen it quickly turn. So I know it's there to turn, and that's the hope that I'm hanging on to. In terms of relaxing, Carlo, going back to your original question, yeah, that's a good question at the minute, to be honest. Look, I stay up here obviously 3 nights a week, maybe a couple more, maybe a couple less, depending on the schedule. My wife and kids are down in Birmingham in where I live. It's where kind of we settled as a family since I signed for Aston Villa about 8 years ago. So my kids are settled in school, but my sacrifice for them and my work ethic towards the club and my promise towards the club is that I'll be up here, you know, 3 or so nights a week away from my family, because you have to if you want to go and achieve anything. And I think that's my message towards the players as well. And it will be even more so in pre-season when there's a bit of a new crop and a new energy and a new set of staff, that you have to be here to want to do well for the football club, that you buy into what we're asking. I think we need people and players that want to be here first and foremost over anything. You have to sacrifice. You have to have discipline when you're in the club, but even more so, you have to have discipline away from the club when nobody's watching, because that's huge. So yeah, my chill out time and my kind of relaxing time is probably the nights I just get home to my wife and kids. I just like going back to them. I love going home when I can, but they know that I've got a job to do here first and foremost, and you know, that's at the forefront of my mind. I know you don't want to keep me, but I want to keep you a little bit. So I want to ask you a question. Give me a couple of opinions about the current fan base. How you see problems, how you see quick fixes, how you see turnarounds. So it's all well and good me answering, but you're in and amongst it more than me. I don't really go on social media too much, so I'm flipping it on its head to you. If you have time, I know you're working, so if you've got a couple of minutes of your time.
No, absolutely. I think if you look at the fan base from an honest point of view, you've got people that won't be happy unless we play in Europe. Well, that's not going to happen. So you have to shelve those for a little bit and just hope they get better. Yeah. I think most fans are realistic, and a previous manager a few seasons ago said what you can expect is sweat on the shirt. And I think Barnsley fans, majority, don't even mind losing a match if they see that everything was left on the pitch, because I think in any division there will always on the day be a team that might just be a little bit better or had a bit more luck. And I think what Barnsley fans are longing for is, and you said it in the first question, but is an identity. When I get asked at the beginning of the season by other league clubs, what can we expect from Barnsley? I think there's been a period that we said, oh, I don't really know. There's been a lot of tinkering with formations, with this. We've had, as you know, in 2016, 2017, when we had the success, you could say, watch this person in midfield, watch this. And I think we then had a period where we had the high pressing football, the Standal, the Valerian Ismail era, that we had a real identity. And I think that's what fans long for, because not only is it exciting to watch, it almost represents the town, that it's like that renewed optimism. Barnsley has always been a little bit of the black sheep of Yorkshire, because Sheffield is big. 25 million people apparently live in Leeds, and they all have season tickets, but Barnsley's always a little bit left behind, isn't it? So we make our own name, and I love nothing more. I'm there again tomorrow. I love to see in the West End where some of the people who are, well, I'm not young, but and they tell stories of coming there for 40, 50 years. And over the last 2 weeks, actually, you can hear it. You can hear the optimism coming back a bit, because I think they genuinely feel they found somebody in you that gets the club, the history of the club, the type of people that work really hard Monday to Friday to afford a pint, a pie, and 90 minutes of football on a Saturday. And I think that's been the key. When you announced, I'm not saying it because you're on, but we said it. We were just happy that you don't have to look for somebody that needs to either learn the language or learn about the club. You know this club as well as anybody else, and I think that will bring. I'm not saying success on the pitch, but I think the unity you're talking about, that will make huge steps forward because of that. Absolutely.
Okay, no, brilliant. I'm glad to hear that. And look, the fans know, obviously, that, like I said, in my questions that I just answered, that, that kind of unity is at the forefront of my mind. And look, it doesn't guarantee results, but I'm hoping it will help. And whether I'm a success or not, it won't be from the want of trying. I can guarantee you that, so, and I think the one thing I'm going to, don't get me wrong, I do see stuff on social media. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. My one thing is probably around the mindset of the fans and the narrative of the fans. So a little bit of disgruntled towards people or the board at the club. We're not getting backed and all that kind of stuff. But I think we need to change the narrative of that. And I think we need to see it a little bit differently. And I think uniting everyone and using that power. So for instance, in my opinion, how we turn up every single game day, but in the background, it's how we turn up every single day and how we then go out on a game day. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. It doesn't cost millions of pounds. And I think we need to pride ourselves on that, how we turn up every single day, how we go out to play in the famous colours of Barnsley, in the red and white. All that's free of charge. It doesn't cost anything. And it's just a mindset towards it. And I think we need to change that narrative, players and staff and fans, all of us. So when I see, the board, we're not getting back from the board, I get it, and I get the frustration, and I know you want money yesterday. I want results yesterday. I don't want them tomorrow. But what I will say is that the mindset and the narrative around what we can change is doesn't cost a penny.
Yeah.
And you've got to know who is like I said, that cares, that wants that united freedom, and that doesn't cost, like I said, £1 note. It doesn't cost £50. And I'm hoping that you'll be, yourself and the fan base will be excited about the current appointment, and step by step, I hope we'll get there. And fingers crossed, we'll have a little bit of luck along the way. Like I said, it doesn't guarantee results, but it won't be from the want to try. But I just think we need to change that narrative and that mindset around how we turn up to match days every single day.
Yeah, and I think it's hard sometimes. And again, I can't talk for everybody. I think people hang on to things, don't they? And it's like, we're not doing well because of this, because of that. It's not. I might work in a school, but I'm not a teacher. I'm not a businessman, but I know this. We've still got a club because of the finances from above and people putting into the club to keep it going. I know, and I think sometimes it's, people watch the Premier League on a Saturday evening or whatsoever, and then turn up on a Tuesday and say, this is a different world. This is a very different world. I think the club have shown actually they can get it right. I watched the video from last night where, a certain player got, I think, every trophy going who was recruited last season. So I think we can. I think sometimes people, when it's going right, they don't say much. They always look for that little bit that can be negative. And it's about mindset. And in that respect, fans really should show up in the same positive mindset as the players. And then we are truly united as one, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that mindset around it, and like I said, if we start winning games at home and away, of course, it will bring it together that little bit more. There's a new connection. Not that it's new, but it's relighting the connection with the academy. There's some lads coming through. There might be somebody in the academy again involved tomorrow without giving anything away. So that connection is there. The people want to see people coming through the academy. So yeah, look. Like I said, step by step, day by day, there's hard work going on in the background from myself and everyone around the club, and that's my message to everyone. And to the fans as well. Look, there's some good people at this club. There is. I know I'm on about change and reset and all that, but don't diminish the people that are here currently. And I say someone next to me like Lewis, who've been a supporter from the club for a long time. There is some good people around here. I'm telling you. Even. People get disgruntled with the board and whatever, but they've been fantastic with me. Honestly, they've been absolutely brilliant. So whatever the narrative is towards certain people at the club, I think it needs to change a little bit. Forget it as much as you can and bring that volume and that noise back to Oakville that I know that this place can turn into. Because when I played here and played against here when I left the club, it's a tough place to come when you get it right. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. And I think, I think what fans need to, and it's hard. Tomorrow is the last home match of the season. Then there's Reading away. That season's done. We turn over a new page. A new paragraph starts in the history of Barnsley FC under Conor Hourihane. We'll have a summer where I'm sure you'll bring players in, back rooms, whatever it is that you need to do. And on the first match of next season, we can't come in with the hangover of whatever happened 3 or 4 months ago, because then it never gets better, does it? It needs to be, for this to succeed, people just need to. And truly appreciate your time on this Friday afternoon. Wish you nothing but luck tomorrow. I know the fans fully behind you. Let's hope there is some noise, and let's hope the 12th man returns, which I'm sure it will. Thank you very much for taking the time, and it's exciting again, isn't it? So we're very much looking forward to seeing where the team under your leadership can go, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. Cheers. Look, thanks for your time as well, because I know obviously you're working, so I appreciate that. And like I said, just as a final message and kind of to cap off, I think, look, there's a lot of work from myself and individuals going on at the football club to want to bring the success back. It might take that little bit of time, and it may hurt a little bit to start with, but I'm hoping with the belief, with the hard work, and with how you're going to turn up every single home game and away, don't get me wrong, but how we'll bring back the noise to the football club and unite everyone is just as powerful as anything else, and hopefully that will be sooner rather than later. Fingers crossed.
If you have half the success as manager as you did as a player, we're on to a winner, aren't we? So fine.
Cheers. Fingers crossed. Thanks, pal.
Thanks very much.
Yes.
Cheers, Conor.